everyone, welcome back to my channel Million Dollar SIP. In this video, I'll talk about how the inflation report sparked a market gap up today, some positive news with Nvidia and Tesla surging over 6% to lift Nasdaq 1.13%, and how the S&P 500 and Dow performed today. Then I'll dive into my regular updates on TQQQ, my entry details, its performance today, portfolio update, and a TQQQ versus my portfolio analysis. Full details ahead, so stay tuned. First, let's break down how the stock market performed today. Wall Street kicked off with a jolt when the Bureau of Labor Statistics dropped its February CPI, showing a year-over-year rise of just 2.8%. below the 3% which everybody forecasted. The key inflation gauge tracking everyday costs like food and fuel hinted at a Fed rate pause, sparking a gap up at the open with Nasdaq jumping over 1% early as traders piled into growth stocks. Tech stole the spotlight with Nvidia soaring 6.4% on unstoppable AI chip demand and Tesla surging 7.5% after Trump praised its EV dominance at a White House event. The Magnificent Seven pushed Nasdaq to a 1.13% close at 19,596. Nvidia and Tesla led, joined by Meta, Alphabet and Amazon on ad and e-commerce strength, while Microsoft rose a modest 0.74%. Apple, however, fell 1.75% after reports of an 8% iPhone sales drop in China for 2024 shook confidence. The S&P 500 rose 0.49% to 5,596. While the Dow slipped 0.20% to 41,350, early CPI-driven gains faded as Verizon weakened on soft subscriber growth from rival promotions. Caterpillar sagged amid construction demand fears, and Boeing faltered with supply chain woes. Apple's decline added pressure, lifted by inflation optimism, cushioned the Dow's drop, leaving markets split between relief and sector stumbles. Now that we learned of stock market movements today, let's get into my regular update on my journey from $0 to $1 million in 10 years. Today is day 17. As always, my first step is to check if you are in a downtrend or uptrend to determine my investment size. Yesterday's TQQQ daily candle opened and closed below the 12 EMA, so we are still in downtrend. That means my daily limit will continue to be $200 to $250, investing 4 units like yesterday. Since TQQQ stayed below the $63 and above $50, I switched to the 5-minute time frame and I watched the action. TQQQ opened with a gap up, so I waited for my signal, which is a dip below the 12 EMA and then bounce back above it. At 9:30, the price crossed below the 12 EMA and by 10:25, it bounced back. But I held off for confirmation. At 10:35, I got the green light and took my entry. So I bought 4 units at $60.70, investing $242. Then I went on with my day and monitored TQQQ movement for analysis, and here's how it performed. It closed at $61.13, up by 3.42%, a strong day riding the tech rally and inflation optimism. I'm doing all this on my own interest. My strategy doesn't need everyday observation of market movements. Next, let's take a look at today's portfolio performance. So far, my total investment stands at $3,636 with the latest TQQQ price closing at $61.13. This brings the market value of my holdings to $3,056 and the average cost per unit is currently $72.72, meaning I'm sitting on a net loss of $579, which translates to a 16% decline. Since I started this investment journey, TQQQ has dropped by 32%, but my portfolio declined by only 16%, which means I have successfully outperformed by 16% so far. This demonstrates the effectiveness of my hybrid SIP strategy, which helps mitigate downside risk while allowing me to accumulate more units at lower prices. By following my structured approach, I continue to reduce my average cost while staying ahead of TQQ's overall decline. That wraps up day 17. I'll keep bringing daily updates plus a weekly summary to track my progress. If you're enjoying this, hit that like button, subscribe, and follow along. Let's grow this together. See you tomorrow.